You know that feeling, right? Yesterday they were texting you back instantly, sharing inside jokes, making you feel like you were the only person in their world. Then out of nowhere radio silence. Complete ghosting. No heads up, no explanation, just nothing. And suddenly you're sitting there at 2 a.m., scrolling through your last conversation like some kind of detective, wondering, what did I mess up? Was I too clingy? Not interesting enough? Did I say something stupid? But here's what I want you to know, and this might surprise you most of the time when someone goes MIA on you. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. I know that sounds impossible when you're spiraling, but stick with me here. I'm about to break down the real psychology behind why people suddenly vanish from your life. And more importantly, I'll show you how to handle it without losing your mind or your self-worth. It's usually not about you, even though it feels like it. Can we talk about how we immediately blame ourselves when someone pulls away? Like, the second they stop responding, we turn into our own worst critic. We replay every single text, every conversation, looking for that moment we ruined everything. But here's the thing: psychology shows us that people usually withdraw because of their own internal mess, not because of anything you did. They might be drowning in anxiety, dealing with personal drama, or just completely overwhelmed by life. And instead of being honest about it, they choose the easy way out: they disappear. Think of it like this: their silence is like looking in a funhouse mirror. You think you're seeing a reflection of your flaws, but really, you're just seeing their distorted way of handling emotions. Once you get this, everything changes. You stop taking every disappearing act as proof that you're not good enough. Sometimes people don't reject you, they just retreat into themselves. And that's on them, not you. Some people just can't handle real emotions. Here's something that might blow your mind: some people literally don't know how to deal with feelings, theirs or yours. They never learned how to sit with uncomfortable emotions or have difficult conversations. So what do they do when things start feeling too real, too close, too vulnerable? They run. Not physically, but emotionally. They ghost you because facing their feelings feels scarier than hurting you. It's not that they don't care about you. It's that caring feels dangerous to them. Maybe they've been hurt before, or maybe they're terrified of being seen for who they really are. So they hit the eject button before things get too deep. The crazy part? Their silence isn't because they feel nothing, it's usually because they feel everything. They're drowning in emotions they don't know how to express, so they shut down completely. But here's the hard truth: you can't force someone to face their feelings if they're determined to run from them. You can be patient, you can be understanding, but you can't fight a battle they won't even admit they're in. When silence becomes a weapon. Sometimes people ignore you for a much darker reason: they're angry, guilty, or resentful, but instead of talking about it, they use silence to punish you. This is that passive-aggressive stuff that makes you feel crazy. They don't yell or confront you directly. They just disappear. Leave you hanging. Make you feel the consequences of whatever they're too scared or proud to say out loud. Maybe they think you hurt them somehow. Maybe they did something they're ashamed of. Or maybe they're changing and don't know how to explain it. So they vanish, hoping you'll chase them or suffer in confusion. It's manipulation disguised as mystery. They want to keep you emotionally hooked without having to take responsibility for their silence. If someone is using silence as a weapon against you, they don't deserve more of your energy. They need boundaries, not your endless compassion. Real love doesn't leave you guessing whether you're being punished for crimes you didn't even know you committed. The chase me game. Not all silence is about fear or hurt feelings. Sometimes it's calculated. Some people pull away just to see what you'll do. Will you panic? Will you beg for their attention? Will you bend over backward trying to win them back? This is emotional manipulation 101. They create distance to test your reaction. The more you chase, the more powerful they feel. In their twisted logic, if you're desperate for their attention, that proves how much you need them. But here's how you flip the script: you don't chase. You don't play their game. You don't try to earn someone's love through your own emotional suffering. Real love doesn't need tests. It doesn't require disappearing acts or mind games. It shows up consistently, honestly, and with effort from both people. So if someone's silence feels like a trap, trust that instinct. That's not love, that's manipulation wearing a fancy disguise. When people simply outgrow each other. Here's the hardest type of silence to understand: when someone pulls away not because they're playing games or avoiding feelings, but because life is naturally creating distance between you. This one hurts the most because there's no villain, no big dramatic moment you can point to. You just grow apart. Conversations start feeling forced. The connection that once felt effortless now feels heavy. One day they stop responding, not out of cruelty, but because what you had doesn't fit who they're becoming. You're both evolving, just in different directions. We hold on to the memory of who they were when things felt magical. We wait for them to come back, not realizing they already left quietly, gradually, sometimes without even meaning to. But there's peace in accepting that not every ending is a betrayal. Sometimes it's just life saying, this chapter is over. Letting go doesn't mean the connection meant nothing, it means honoring what it was while making space for what's meant to come next. How to actually handle the silent treatment. When someone suddenly goes quiet on you, your brain immediately starts spinning, craving answers, closure, anything to make the confusion stop. But here's what you need to hear: you might never get closure from them. You might have to give it to yourself. The urge to fix their silence comes from wanting to feel safe and in control again. But sometimes their silence is the answer, painful, but revealing. So what do you actually do? First, don't chase. I know every instinct is telling you to text them again, to explain yourself, to fix whatever might be broken. Don't. Your reaction in their silence is where your power lives. Second, look at the pattern, not just this moment. Have they done this before? Is this how they handle conflict or intimacy? One-time silence might be human. Repeated silence is showing you exactly who they are. Third, protect your peace. If their silence is making you question your worth, that's a red flag, not a love letter. No relationship, romantic or friendship, is worth losing yourself over. Finally, choose your dignity over desperation. You deserve actual conversations, not confusion. You deserve consistency, not chaos. The truth about what their silence really means. I know silence hurts. It sits in your chest like an unanswered question, making you second-guess everything about yourself. But remember this: when someone stops showing up for you, it reveals everything about them and nothing about your worth. Their silence might come from fear, guilt, immaturity, or just bad communication skills. But it's never your job to translate someone's silence into reasons to blame yourself. You are not unworthy. You are not too much or not enough. You're simply outgrowing people who don't know how to meet you with the same honesty and care you give so freely. So the next time someone fades away without warning, don't shrink. Don't chase. Don't lose sleep trying to decode their mixed signals. Let their silence speak for itself, and let your peace respond. Their absence might just be clearing space for something real, something that won't leave you wondering if you're enough. Because you are. You always have been. When someone goes silent, it's easy to internalize their absence as a reflection of your inadequacy. But in truth, their silence speaks volumes, not about your worth, but about their capacity. Whether it stems from emotional avoidance, manipulation, immaturity, or simple life divergence, their inability to communicate is not your burden to carry or fix. What matters most is how you respond. Emotional maturity means recognizing when silence is a message and having the strength to hear it without compromising your dignity. You are not here to chase clarity from people who choose confusion. You are not meant to shrink to fit inside someone else's emotional limitations. Hold your standards. Guard your peace. And remember, healthy connections are rooted in openness, not mystery. In mutual effort, not emotional games. In clarity, not chaos. So when silence comes, let it come. And instead of reacting with self-doubt, respond with self-respect. That's not indifference, it's evolution. And it's the most powerful answer you can give.